I remember when there were uniformed men who pumped our gas and looked under our hoods and checked the air pressure in our tires. And then all of a sudden, they were replaced by self-service gas pumps. There were people around to walk us through the learning curve, much like the people help us out now with self-checkout at the grocery stores. At first, we thought this was terrible and a total lack of customer service. But as it turns out, we loved pumping our own gas. It became the new normal. But what's the new normal now? Hi, I'm John, and this is Bogdan. In 2015, we gave up our day jobs and started our own freelance creative business. Join us on our journey as we figure out how to earn a living as artists, introduce you to those we meet, and share what we learn along the way. This week, Bogdan and I have been talking a lot about what the world may look like when this crisis is ended. What is the business market going to look like for creatives from now on? I think the first thing we need to accept is that people may not return to large group events for quite a while. The new trend seems to be creating virtual events that take place totally online. It's like pumping your own gasoline or checking out your own groceries. That's just the way we're developing. So you can love it or hate it.
Rolo, answer the door.
Sign here.
This basic shift could easily leave us behind.
The new normal is this online galleries. The most exhibition I get in are online. However, it's very hard for me to understand if a buyer can make up their mind by just an online view. Because when you talk about art, most of the time you want to see it with your own eyes, you know.
A lot of the research shows and the statistics show that there are a lot of people who are buying online, and they're spending serious, tens of thousands of dollars without blinking and work they've never seen in person. So there is a market out there. Maybe we just haven't really been directing our sales to that market.
And it's another point, when you have a physical exhibition, you end up with some pictures that helps your marketing, but for an online one, I won't have anything to show, to display, to tell the world, look how beautiful it was.
The other good thing about these online exhibitions and such, they are still juried, they are still curated. You are being chosen out of a group. It's not just a vanity thing.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I just kind of wonder, though, looking forward as we try and map out how we're going to proceed in this weird new world, looking at what is the new normal, obviously there will still be a lot of virtual once this is over, because I think this has been a wake-up call for a lot of people, and ourselves included, that we need to have a much stronger presence online. I think we have to be prepared for the possibility that people are going to love online exhibitions. We recently had a very small opening for Bogdan's photography collection, just a 2-day show, and it cost us around $5,000 to rent the space, to get security, alcohol, catering, printing invitations, and all of that. We had about 150 people show up, and it was a lovely event. But take a look at some of the virtual gallery tours out there and online exhibitions. The numbers are quite high, much more than the 150 souls who came to our reception. Think about the money that galleries have to shell out for each artist they represent. And they have to have numerous shows every year to stay top of mind with their collectors. There may be a lot of interest in maintaining this virtual exhibition format, regardless of today's health scare. Are you ready as a creative entrepreneur to move to virtual exhibitions? Have you taken the steps needed to make that sort of transition permanent? Are you ready to host your own online exhibition? I was looking at Pinterest today, examining one of the new pins I created to promote a new series of paintings I'm working on. And I saw that the pin had only been seen by a little over 300 people in the first 24 hours. At first I was a little discouraged, and then I realized how thrilled would I be if I had 300 people come through my studio door to see my new collection. That doesn't mean that any of those views are going to necessarily turn into sales. But neither does opening my studio door every Saturday for passers-by. This virtual art business really is something we're going to have to understand and embrace now. I think we will find that we need to include some sort of experience for our collectors. You know, the ones we offer plates of cheese and crackers and crack open a bottle of wine for. I believe that we will need to include virtual opportunities for that type of customer. I find this to be possibly the most exciting possibility for my business. Giving small rewards, exclusive content, and VIP perks to collectors who want to follow my work more closely, all over the planet. I think we're looking at some basic changes taking place now that are going to take root during this difficult and confusing time, and then blossom into a new normal of the creative business world for years to come. So what is it that we know? It's clear that when people come by the studio on open days, they come in with more than a burning desire to buy my art. They come for some sort of unique shopping experience, to hang out with other artsy types and to have the chance to meet and chat with the artist. If they fall in love with a painting and buy it, that process is secondary. It stands to reason then that if I'm going to try to recreate some sort of virtual open day online, I have to offer an approximation of those experiences. But how in the world do I do that? Let's take inspiration from the corporate world and higher education. They've been doing this sort of thing for years. The evidence is that these virtual conferences and conventions and trade fairs work well for them. They don't necessarily replace the need for in-person events, but virtual experiences go a long way to complement and expand real-life meetings to a much wider audience over a much longer period of time, and a whole lot cheaper. Okay, so let's brainstorm here. Knowing what we know about what happens at an art event like a gallery opening, and knowing too what our clients are looking for at an event such as this, what can I do? Well, I have a Wix webpage now. It's simple to edit, and I can spin extra pages off that website. So I'm going to create a new tab with the name of my new exhibition, Home for the COVID Days. Lame. When someone clicks on that tab, they will be taken to a splash page that serves as a lobby of my online gallery. There's a box there for them to sign into the guest book, which allows me to harvest their email address, and I can send them a lovely thank you note for attending after the show. There's also a written statement of the theme of my show and perhaps a short video of me welcoming them. Then they could see some buttons. One links to information about me, the artist, with a good biography and photos of me painting, perhaps my resume and photos from my other shows. Just lovely stuff that lets them know a little bit more about me. Perhaps even a short video of me talking about my artist statement. Another button will take viewers to the actual images depicted in the show. Each photo will have a title, size, and a description of my inspiration or how that painting fits into the overall story of the exhibition. Clicking on that image could take them directly to the e-commerce section of my website where they can purchase the item right then and there. Yet another button might be for live events that I record so that I can have them there after the live event is over. I can include a schedule of when I will appear online for questions and answers, or for an author's talk, or to get somebody smart who's wearing all black to interview me. The idea here is to give them direct access to me so that a relationship can be built. I can host other live events too, including things like scheduling a giveaway, or maybe an online auction. There might also be a button there that takes viewers to a review page or a poll so that they can record their wonderful praise about me and my work. People do tend to read short reviews and count stars. Guys, all of this is really not that hard to do. If you don't have a website that you can update easily, you can always get something cheap from a website provider and just link it to your existing web page. If you've got all the moving pieces organized, you could set this up in half a day. Then you could leave it there for people to visit for months or longer. Of course, you're still going to need to market the crap out of this virtual event, but you've got loads of ways to do that as well. Now, don't let this awful period take you off the boil. If you're like me, you have some time to devote to this kind of promotion, and likely have some new content that you could curate for a show. We know that virtual exhibitions, concerts, meetings, they work. And they're all part of the new normal for our creative environment.
Firebird 2 to Control Tower. We are about to take off on the highway of tomorrow. Stand by.
Why would we not take advantage of this opportunity to make virtual events part of our new normal as well? We were talking about giving you all the philosophical and all the information about trying to create virtual events. And we thought, you know what? It's really not that hard. We just need to put out the bare essentials. What would you need today to do some virtual online content? And we came up with 5 things.
And that is, you're gonna have to have a good computer with a bit of editing software installed in. There are plenty of editing software programs out there in the world, some cheaper, some expensive. It's up to you and your budget. The kind of software, you're gonna have to dig up a little and find one that fits for you and for your computer specifications, because these things are tied together. You need what?
Well, let me finish. Also with the computer, you don't want to try and do any kind of video editing on your phone. That would be crazy. So you are going to need some sort of computer.
I mean, you can, but it's going to be so frustrating.
It'll go crazy, yeah.
You need a website, right?
Yes, you'll have to have a website, right? Something that you know how to edit.
Yeah.
That you have some control over. If it's too hard, if it's too sophisticated, you paid someone to do it for you, and you don't know how to add things and change things, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah, I mean, you should have these virtual galleries, both on social media and whatever channels you have, but they should exist in your website as well.
And if you don't have one that you can get to, or that you don't have one at all, they're really cheap. You can get something. We've got something on Wix. You can get it up and running in a half an hour, and you can just do it there and link it to your original website.
And you need a camera, and it can be a DSLR. Most of people nowadays have a DSLR, or a phone, a smartphone that is very good these days.
Yeah,
you can do all kinds of things with it.
Great cameras in there, yeah.
And sound.
And I guess with the phone though, you want to make sure that you can, in some way, can steady your phone. I have a cheap little tripod. I think it was $6. You can gorilla clip it to a shelf. You can set it on something. You just need to not have it moving around when you're trying to film, because that's hard for the viewers to watch.
And if you do need to move the camera, just make it slow so that the viewers won't feel dizzy. You're gonna need some audio and some lighting. In terms of audio, we use all kinds of lavalier, but these ones that we are carrying on are quite affordable. You can find them on Amazon, and we can put a link in the description box to let people know what we use. And the sound, they are recorders, and the sound has to be synchronized with the video. And any editing software these days can do that. You can do it some automatically. If that's not possible, you can match it manually. It's going to be a little harder, but it's possible.
Yeah, it's not a problem these days. And I guess the other thing to remember about sound is you want to make sure that your microphone is close to you, not way across the room where your camera is, because you're going to pick up all the ambient sounds of the room.
Coughing and whatever happens in...
You might be here and your camera's there and a bird is closer to your camera than you are, and all you're going to hear is the bird.
Yeah, and the air conditioner.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What else? You need a light.
Lighting.
You're gonna need to buy a very inexpensive stand with a video light, and go on Amazon and browse. There are a trillion of choices, very, very affordable. And get yourself a little umbrella to soften up the light. This would be my recommendation.
It doesn't have to be, that would be, those really aren't expensive. But what the umbrella does is it diffuses the light so that it's softer, that you don't have somebody squinting or really harsh shadows and lines. But you can use pretty much any kind of light source. I know some people will take a lamp and drape a scarf over it, a white scarf. But do realize that some lamps get hot and you can burn down your house.
But it's important that you have some sort of a cold light. Not a yellow light would be too much on your face.
Right, you need a white light, not a yellow, a kind of amber.
A lot of things to remember. But once you start to do it, you're gonna understand it. And then I'm gonna let you talk about the fifth
number 5,
element.
I think is probably as important as any of these bits of equipment, is that you need a good list of names. You need to be collecting emails in a non-spammy sort of way.
Is this an iPad?
This is an early version of software. And what you need is a really, really good list of names, because if you can't market your new virtual experience to people, they're not going to attend. So that is really, really an important element that needs to be mentioned as well. How can you stay home for 3 months and then all of a sudden be busy as hell?
Everything, there's a lot of things happening, everything is new. But let's wrap it up. So what's new with me? Well, I just got an email this morning from Stonehenge Gallery in Montgomery, Alabama, that they chose one of my photographs to be part of their next exhibition in July.
Congratulations.
That is called the 2020.
Marvelous.
And I'm very, very excited about it.
And that's just, adding to a longer and longer list.
Yes.
Because we've been applying to so many since we've been home.
What else? I submitted also another 3 photographs to a gallery called PH21 in Budapest. And
in Hungary.
This was an open international call for all artists to submit for their next exhibition, Imagination. And I just got the confirmation several days ago that 2 of my photographs were accepted. I have Praxis. I submitted for the portrait photography exhibition. They have me accepted, but now the exhibition is on. So if you are in Minneapolis, browse for Praxis Gallery and go take a snap of my photograph in there. The 13 juried exhibition organized by the Visual Arts Alliance in Houston is coming soon, and I just submitted for them 4 photographs I have done during this pandemic, and they are part of the Home for COVID-19 series.
Right. Now this is a little bit different because you have to be invited to apply, to submit to this one. So that's quite an honor just to get able to submit.
Lastly, at this time, I have a proposal from a gallery in Argentina. They want to display only virtual at this time.
Right, that's true of a lot of places.
The whole series of inheritance.
So that's a solo show.
That's
right?
a solo show.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No,
You've been
thank you.
Lots of things coming in. That's great. The only thing I've really got is I am applying for, I have applied for Proyectos de Residencia MX in Mexico City. And this is a unique residence program because you stay at home. No, because of COVID-19, they've had to, you know, it's a very unique way to do a residency where you don't reside anywhere but at home. But hopefully I'll get in, and it's a residency program. So I would still have all of those elements that you get in a residency program where you've got a cohort of other artists and deliverables and things like that. But it's all done online. So I have
hopeful. To say, I think I've been more excited about this opportunity than you are, because I thought I'm going to go to Mexico on a regular basis.
But that doesn't mean they won't start it up again in Mexico City.
Oh.
But so that's what I'm doing, and hopefully we'll have quite a bit of good news for you next week. But that's a little bit of a teaser because we've got something else. Something else we're cooking. We'll keep you apprised as we do more cool stuff. Let us know what you're doing in your lives in the comments. We'd love to hear about you. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell and help us out on Patreon if you can. Give me some feedback too about what you thought about today's content. I'd really appreciate that. Have a great week, stay healthy, and look out for your new normal.